to the Overwatch What's New panel.
Happy BlizzCon, everybody. How you doing? Wow, there's so many people here. So, as you guys know, the top things that players want in Overwatch are new heroes, new maps, and new game modes. So it was really exciting for us when Mike in the opening ceremonies announced that we will have new maps, new game modes, and new heroes coming to Overwatch. So we're going to give you all the details here today. We're going to start by talking about the 23rd hero, the new hero Sombra. You're going to learn a ton about her. Then we're going to talk about that new feature, the arcade, a whole new way to play Overwatch, which has new game modes. And we will also talk about the 2 new maps that we're going to be bringing to Overwatch, which is Eco Point Antarctica, home base of May, and also the Oasis. But first, we should introduce ourselves. I'm Jeff. I'm one of the guys on the Overwatch team. Woo!
I'm Michael. I'm the lead writer on the Overwatch team.
I'm Arnold. I'm one of the artists on the Overwatch team.
I'm Jeff. There we go. I'm Jeff. I'm lead hero designer on the team.
All right, so let's get things started. Today we're going to be talking about our newest hero, Sombra, hero number 23. And since we've started talking about Overwatch with all of you, I think we've gotten like one question more than any other. It's not about Torbjorn nerfs, not about Symmetra buffs, though I heard some stuff from Jeff about that. Yes, not about espresso machines. The question is, who is Sombra? And I thought maybe we would get the answer from Sombra herself.
Who is Sombra? To the system, she's nobody. She doesn't exist. No one remembers the girl. There were 1,000 children like her after the war. But none of them could hack like she could. And she learned that people were just as easily manipulated. Now she understood how the world worked. Information is power. So she kept hacking politicians, corporations, governments. It was an addiction. But for the first time, someone noticed her. When your hardware's obsolete, it's time to upgrade. The girl was gone, and Sombra was born. Now, I'm ready. I'll find out who really runs the world. I'll find their weaknesses and how to exploit them. And when I do, I'll be the one pulling the strings. Who is Sombra? You'll never know. Adios.
So, Sombra is one of the world's most notorious hackers and a master infiltrator. But how did the girl become Sombra? Well, the answer to that question, we have to look back to where she came from. Sombra was born 30 years ago during what the Mexicans refer to as La Medianoche, thanks to my 2 years of high school Spanish for that pronunciation. So La Medianoche is the phrase that they use in Mexico to describe the Omnic Crisis and the time that followed that. So for a quick recap of the Omnic Crisis, it is an event that took place across the world where robot populations rebelled against their human controllers. And so, just keep that in mind next time you're plugging in your Roomba. But anyways, Mexico really suffered a lot at the hands of the Omnics and the Omnic Crisis. The war destroyed much of the country's infrastructure. It resulted in a massive loss of life that created thousands of orphans like Sombra. So in this environment, Sombra had to do whatever she could to survive. Luckily, she had an ability. She was fantastic with computers. She could hack anything, and she could break into systems, so she used these abilities to steal money to get by, to manipulate the people who are trying to control her, and to make a life for herself. Now, if you have abilities like that, you're bound to be of interest to people. And a young Sombra was taken in by the Los Muertos organization. Los Muertos is an interesting group in the Overwatch lore. You may remember them from the Soldier 76 animated short Hero. They claim to be kind of revolutionaries fighting for people who were left behind during the rebuilding of Mexico after the war. Whether or not that's really what they're up to, because they're also engaged in a lot of other kind of shady activities, is kind of up to you to decide. But they took in a young Sombra, and she basically honed her hacking abilities, working for them and helping them in their campaign against the Mexican government. And as a little sneak peek here, can show you, this is one of Sombra's legendary skins. So this is what a young Sombra would have looked like as a member of Los Muertos. So as a member of Los Muertos, Sombra basically, she was hacking the Mexican government, and she just kept going deeper and deeper into the world and executing more and more audacious hacks. And it wasn't just that she was good at it, it's actually something in her personality, like she wants to do it. She has this thing where if there's a mystery, she wants to solve it. If there's a lock, she wants to break it. And so she would investigate, corporations, the government, famous people. And in fact, Sombra gave me a little hint today that a very important person in the Overwatch universe's birthday is today. And that's Mr. Jeff Kaplan here. So I think, happy birthday, Jeff. So Sombra, while investigating the Mexican government, she stumbled upon something. She found a conspiracy, or what she believed to be a conspiracy, that was at the heart of a lot of the events that were taking place in the Overwatch universe. And obviously, with her curiosity, she wanted to know more about this. So she started investigating it. But the thing was, Sombra can be a little overconfident, and she wasn't ready, and the conspiracy struck back. They found out who she was, and they went after her. Overnight, she had to go underground. She had to delete every trace of her existence and basically become a ghost. She spent years during this time. She was repairing herself, getting ready to strike back against that conspiracy. So, she got these upgrades done to her, which you can see in her awesome art. She basically became the computer. She doesn't need a computer to hack anymore. She has all sorts of upgrades. And with that, she became a much more capable hacker than she ever was. And that attracted new suitors. And in this case, it was the Talon organization, who could totally make use of one of the world's best hackers. And so, as a member of Talon, she executed even more audacious hacks. I know, even more. She struck against corporations like Lumerico, Volskaya Industries, as you saw in the animated short this morning. And basically, while she's currently in league with Talon, she's a really interesting character because, she's really in it for herself. She wants to find out this conspiracy. She wants the power of this conspiracy for herself. And I think that it's something we'll see as we go throughout the story, what exactly Sombra's endgame is. And I guess I'd finish up by saying one thing that I think is really interesting about Sombra is, we talk a lot about characters who have, various motivations and, they're sort of gray. Are they good? Are they evil? What do they really want? And I think Sombra's a perfect example of that. She's an awesome, unreliable narrator, perhaps the most unreliable narrator we have. But now I'd like to turn it over to a very reliable narrator, Mr. Arnold Singh.
Thanks, Mike.
Oh, I missed a slide.
Everyone pay real close attention to this one. There might be some hidden clues, maybe. So I'm here to talk about some of the art behind Sombra. This is the awesome key art by John Polidora. But one of the things I really like showing when we talk about new heroes and just all the Overwatch heroes is some of the kind of the original art that kind of spawned the journey that led to the final design. With Sombra, we actually started working on her a long time ago, back way before even like Hanzo and Genji. We had this idea, I think Jeff had an idea called the Omni Blade, which was like this throwing dagger, throwing star hero. And we did a sketch of her, and we thought it was really cool. Like she had all these like throwing knives, as you can see in the image there. We tried a couple of flavors where, she had a more of a Mexican theme, and that's where we came up with the name Sombra. As you can see, she's kind of this very agile, very stealthy hero. But they ended up stepping on some of the, or her abilities ended up going to some of more well-known Shimada brother heroes, right?
Yeah. I mean, Hanzo ended up. She used to have this ability to throw. There you go. She used to have this ability to throw a dagger, and it would reveal people. And you guys know that now as Hanzo's Sonar era. So she was real early on, and she never really got past the paper design stage. Actually, she was just sort of, one up and coming one that we're going to do. But once we started getting into the ninjas, they couldn't help but pillage some of those ideas and leave them there.
Yeah, the Shimada Bros spoils everyone's fun.
Not about that.
But we ended up shelving that idea. But then there was a new idea that you guys had that was like a stealth hacker. So we thought that idea of hacking and stealth felt like it was in sync with that Sombra concept that we did early on. So we took that idea with some of the information now that we know from the abilities, like she can stealth, she can hack, and tried to fit that idea of this Sombra character around that. And this is a new concept that we came up with that kind of fits into that. You can see kind of clues of how her suit kind of looks like her final design now, and those hacking tendrils that are also a very prominent part of her look. One of the things that you'll notice different from this design from her current design is that she has a hood and she has a very longer coat. And you might actually even recognize the silhouette of this image. We were doing this development of Sombra at the same time as we were doing one of our other heroes, Ana. And Ana was also a hero that had a silhouette that used a hood and a longer jacket. So we felt like, because their silhouettes started getting very similar, we decided to steer Sombra a little bit further away from that, and that ended up with our concept for Sombra today. So this is the final concept of Sombra by Ben Zhang. Ben did basically all of the concept art for Sombra, developed all the abilities and look for her. Again, like you can see, she still has that stealth suit, the thermoptic camo suit, and also her hacking tendrils. And the hacking tendrils was one of it was a very cool, very cyberpunky aesthetic that the look we're really excited about, but we were kind of uncertain how it would work with gameplay. But then Ben did some very cool motion concepts, and here's an example of how we kind of developed the look of the hacking tendrils in a first-person kind of concept, and also a look at the concept for Sombra's thermoptic camo, which is an ability that allows her to be stealth and totally unseen to the enemy, but allies still need to see her. So we had to come up with a look that allies could see you, but you still look stealth. So that's where you see on the right side there. In addition to these concepts, we also developed Sombra's kit even further. We knew that she'd be hacking a lot with her left hand, and here's an example of some of the more detailed concepts we do of her kind of hacking hand and how all those details work together. We also have the concept of her translocator, which some of you guys might recognize from the cinematic we just showed, and actually has a very familiar shape to it.
Yeah, let's just say that Winston and Tracer are not big fans of Sombra's work.
He hacks everything. Sombra also has the machine pistol, which Jeff will talk a little bit more about on the gameplay side, but on the art side, we're really excited to have this type of weapon because the SMG kind of machine pistol look resonated a lot with the kind of cyberpunk theme, and also worked really well gameplay-wise. One of the things, very interesting things we tried with the machine pistol was to get the ammo counter to have a very specific look to it. Early on we tried like a binary counter, which you see on the bottom right there, but it got a little bit busy and a little bit confusing, so we ended up with like a hexadecimal counter. And I'm not a programmer, so I have no idea what it means, but I think it looks really cool. It kind of speaks to her hacker theme. So in addition to these concepts, with new heroes, we always do motion studies, movement studies. And what these help us to do is kind of inform the animators and all the other developers on how the character moves, the kinds of poses they strike when they do their abilities. For example, here's Sombra kind of running around with her machine pistol, getting ready for EMP. So some of those poses are really important in developing the movement suite of the hero. And as kind of Mike teased earlier, the Los Muertos skin for Sombra, a concept by John Polidora. Here's a sneak peek for Sombra's other legendary skin, the cyberspace skin. This one's by Jung Ah Lee, and we love the cyberpunk aesthetic so much we wanted to double down on it and show an alternate take on how Sombra might look like in the Overwatch universe. So that's just a little bit of the art behind Sombra. So here to talk about more of her abilities is Jeff Goodman.
All right. All right, so let's talk about some of our gameplay. So as Aaron and Mike showed you guys sort of, or talked about a lot of the background of the story and the background of the art and how we got to where we are, I can let you guys know about sort of the background of her gameplay. As Aaron mentioned, she kind of started as that super fast. She had like double jump and can throw knives really fast. And the originally we were working on Genji, actually, as you mentioned, we were working on both the Shimada brothers at the same time. And Genji's original design was the super kind of slow stealth, kind of backstabber who would like stealth up behind you and just one-shot you. It's like that's sort of the what everyone expects. It's not really that fun, as it turns out. We got a lot of interesting feedback from people internally. It was like, all right, well, maybe we need to go another direction here. So we sort of decided that, another really cool fantasy for Genji would be what we sort of had originally planned for Sombra, really fast, could get in, get out, throwing projectiles, things like that. And it worked out really well for him. So it sort of ended up shelving the concept of Sombra for a while. But we really liked the concept and some of the original abilities still. So we sort of knew we would want to come back to it at some point. And especially we know that like stealth is a really fun mechanic. A lot of people really like it in games. So we wanted to try to revisit it, even though it didn't work out the first time we tried it. So we sort of built her with the idea that, well, if we're going to start with a stealth character and we don't want her to be terrible to play against, what does that mean? So we thought, well, the biggest thing, she's not going to be as lethal as, a Reaper up close or a Tracer up close or something. She can't have that, but she can have other tools that an Infiltrator type character would love to have. So I'll show you guys exactly what her kit is and break it down here for you guys. So she has this machine pistol, pretty basic weapon. It's sort of similar to Tracer's weapons in a way. The big difference is it doesn't do as much damage like in a really short window. Like Tracer can blink up on you and unload her magazine really fast and get away. Stormbra's got a giant magazine. She can actually hold down the button for quite a while. So in a way she can kind of, when she's back infiltrating the enemy lines back behind people, she can poke at people and try to take out people who are low health and get away. She's extremely evasive. Her alternate fire is the ability to hack, of course. Wouldn't be a very good hacker if she couldn't hack anything. So first thing she can do, she can hack players. She can hack a couple different things. She can hack players, health packs, as you can see here, and she can hack Torbjorn turrets as well. If you hack a player, it disables their abilities for a little while. It doesn't disable their weapon, but it disables their ability. It's like a silence for those of you guys who played a lot of other games and stuff. So we haven't done that kind of thing before. It's interesting because it's kind of asymmetric. Like if you hack 76, it's not super amazing, but if you hack Reinhardt, it's devastating, right? So picking your targets and knowing the timing of when to hack and who to hack is really important for her. If you hack a health pack, as you see there, she gets her little hack symbol above it, and you're sort of locking up that health pack for your team, so the enemy team can't pick it up anymore, and it lasts quite a while, so she can go around the map and sort of lay the groundwork for your team while you're behind the enemy lines. It also makes the respawn much, much faster, and she actually gets heal credit for it, which is kind of awesome. I've gotten like silver medal before healing with her. It's awesome. If you can hack a Torbjorn turret, it doesn't destroy it or convert it or anything. It stuns it for quite a while. So if it's shooting somebody and you get back there and you can hack it, your team can run in and you don't have to worry about the turret anymore. It's going to be shut down. It's really good. I know that a lot of people don't like Torbjorn, so there you go. Her first ability is called Thermoptic Camo. It's a stealth ability, as you might expect. You've probably seen it a bunch of times now in all these videos. It makes you completely invisible to the enemy. That's a question you sort of get real early often. Is can you see a shimmer or anything like that? No, you don't see anything. When she's there, she's completely gone. Your team can see her all the time, which is what you see in this video. That's what she looks like to your team. If you take damage at all during this, it breaks you out. So you don't want to just storm into the front lines and do the choke points when Junkrat spamming his bombs, something like that. It's not going to end well for you. But she is about infiltration. So then you're thinking, well, if I can't stealth through the choke, how do I get there? And that brings me to the next ability. This is the Translocator. This ability is almost more marquee than stealth. This ability is extremely flexible. You can throw it like a grenade. You can throw it really far, actually, and it will stick to the ground. And it lasts for, I think, 15 seconds right now. It's quite a long time. And at any time later, within that 15-second window, you can hit the button and instantly teleport to that location. So obviously, you can use it, just throw it over a wall and teleport to it, because you can teleport to it when it's in the air, too. So that's super fast. But the other thing you can do is if once you're already behind enemy lines and kind of messing with people who are hacking health packs, you can throw it somewhere safe where they don't even know where it is and go try to shoot people or hack things or be aggressive, and then you always have that like escape window, almost like a tracer, and escape back to that. And the cooldown's really short, so you always want to have your backup plan placed where you want it. These two abilities combined, the stealth and the translocator, make her extremely hard to catch, hard to pin down. Her ultimate ability is called EMP. It's this, you guys have seen this in some of the videos, it's like a giant explosion. It doesn't actually do any raw damage though. First thing it does is it applies hack to everybody. So what her normal alternate fire does, we can hack everything. You can see that even the turret there, it'll shut that down, so it hacks all the players and everything. So it's like a really fast way, because normally the hack is a sort of channeled beam attack, so you can just instantly hit everybody with that and silence everybody, right? They can't use any of their abilities. But also, if you notice in this video, Reinhardt has a shield up and it destroys that. So the other thing it does is destroys all barriers and all shields. So that means, obviously it's devastating to somebody like Reinhardt, but also characters like Zarya or Zenyatta that have shields, it actually kind of does do damage to them because it takes a chunk of their health out, which is represented by shields for those characters. Also, it's amazing versus Lucio's ult, obviously, because it's just like this big shield buffer and she just takes it all out, if you time that right. So that's it. She has one other ability, which is her passive ability, called Opportunist. This ability just is on all the time, it's passive. She automatically can detect enemies through walls that are less than half health. So she's not necessarily super good at just like Tracer running up and just killing somebody, but if you're low health, you know that she's looking at you and she can see you, and then you run for that health pack, and the health pack's hacked. It's like a horror movie. You're just like, oh god, she's got to be here. It's super fun to play with this ability, especially. So that was sort of just a breakdown of like her abilities one by one. We have actually a video to show you kind of what it all looks like when it's put together.
Unauthorized presence detected.
If you hold the information, you hold all the cards. Hack complete. They're over here.
Drop the beat!
EMP activated. Bet you didn't see that coming. Hacking the turret.
I need healing.
Back into the shadows. Adios.
That Lucio is so bummed he blew his ult right there.
He was already on the forums.
That's a forum post right there. Like, Lucio mains. Why, Blizz? So that was Sombra. We want to talk about the other features we added. We're going to start with the arcade. So we realized we picked the single most confusing name for this feature because we used to have a brawl called Arcade, which a lot of people really liked. The brawl still exists, and we now call it Total Mayhem. But Arcade is a new place. So you'll go to the play menu. You guys recognize this. This is the play menu. And now, instead of Weekly Brawl, you're going to see something called Arcade, and it looks like this. So now there are a lot of new ways to play the game. We were really interacting a lot with the community and listening to what you guys had to say. And we kept hearing like this desire for new game modes, which was tricky for us because if we introduce the wrong type of game modes, it really screws up the flow of quick play and competitive play. At the same time, we were hearing the feedback that our weekly brawl didn't have enough oomph to it, and that you also really wanted a reward for the weekly brawl. So we sort of undone the whole thing, rethought about it, and created this area now of Overwatch called the Arcade, which we plan to curate over time. So I don't know if that means that, you know, every month we're going to change it or every 2 months. It's one of the things that we're going to figure out along with you guys, seeing what you respond to, seeing what you're playing a lot. You know, should certain things be featured more? Are certain things not getting much play? Should we segue them out? But let's start with the rewards. So when we introduce a new game mode, we're going to be able to give you a single one-time loot box reward just for playing and winning the game mode. So now you have a motivation. When we add something new, you can go, get that loot box. I'm sure there's no duplicates in it, so it will be awesome. Give you the best one. Make sure you fraps it when you open it. Then after that, we added, so the request that kept coming that we would hear very frequently is, please, for the weekly brawl, give us a loot box each time we played and won the weekly brawl. But what's better than one loot box? 3 loot boxes. Yeah, well, actually 2 is mathematically better also. But so we added a weekly reward system to the arcade. And the way this works is, if you play 3 matches and win, you have to win, you will get a loot box. You can do that again, rinse, repeat, up to 3 loot boxes, and then it goes on cooldown for the week. So each week you can get 3 loot boxes. The time resets for everybody at the exact same time. We promise it won't happen an hour early. Don't be mad. But that's the reward system. The other cool thing about this is we designed it in such a way that rather than forcing you to play a particular mode of the arcade, we allow you to pick whatever you like in the arcade. So you could get those 9 wins all in the same mode if that's what's fun for you, or you can hop around to different modes. It's really your choice. So the new modes, we're going to start with one of my favorites. It's called Mystery Duel. It's a mystery.
That's all we have to say.
We're not going to talk.
You guys can figure it out.
And moving on to the next one. Yeah. So Mystery Duel. So we wanted to add, we've run into this thing, and I'm sure you guys have run into it too, like you play a match against somebody or somebody on your team or other team, and you have that like, come on, dude, let's 1v1. Let's figure this out, And, also, I know there's a lot of people who are upset at the matchmaker, or they blame their team. I'm in Elo hell, and my teammates, I am the world's best Genji, but my teammates are terrible. They're holding me back. Well, for you, we have Mystery Duel, because it's just up to you to win or lose on your own. So, so the way Mystery Duel works is it's actually a best of 9. So whichever person gets to 5 wins first will win the whole thing. And each round, the game randomly selects a hero. So it might be Junkrat, it might be Widowmaker, it might be 76, but you and your opponent have to play the same hero. So it's perfectly matched, evenly fair. I'm sure somebody's going to find a way to find one side to be overpowered in it, but
Symmetra is strangely fun in this mode. I don't know how that worked out.
It's like Southside Junkrat is so OP. Somehow. You guys will figure out a way. I know it'll happen. So to play to play 1v1, like, we started fooling around with this idea, and at first we didn't know what maps it would work on. We were trying it on some of our assault maps or our control maps, but they're really too big. They were built for 6v6 gameplay. So we built a custom map. It's called Eco Point Antarctica, and we think it's a really fun map. It was designed for smaller skirmishes, so things smaller than 6v6, or we've even run some 6v6 modes in these. But when we want them to be more immediate and more intimate, it's got great side hallways for the Reaper. It's got some really great sight lines for Widowmaker and Hanzo. Really great deke routes all over it. The other cool part is it's basically the home base of Mei, one of our favorite heroes. So it provides some story background too.
Yeah, actually this map's really exciting because it provided us with an amazing opportunity to get into the backstory of Mei. So in case you don't know, Mei was a scientist in Overwatch before it was shut down. And she was stationed at Eco Point Antarctica, where she was studying climatology and specifically these kind of mysterious, severe weather conditions that were happening around the world. And so basically, this was the place where she was camped out at, or she was based in, and one of these really unexpected polar storm hits the base. The scientists there were forced to cryogenically freeze themselves after they ran out of supplies, because
What I would have
The
done.
only way you can, yeah.
that's our plan too.
Standard
If a polar
practice.
storm ever hits Irvine, that's what we're doing. And so basically they said, okay, we'll freeze ourselves for a few months, Overwatch will come and rescue us. But that rescue never came, and May was not unfrozen for almost a decade. So on this map, you'll be able to find out a little bit more about what May's life on the base was, and a little bit more of her backstory.
Yeah, so that's the Eco Point Antarctica, and to really feature it, we were adding another mode. So not only do you have Mystery Duel, the 1v1 mode, but we added a 3v3 elimination mode as well. So this one, you play multiple rounds, best of 5, so whoever gets three wins first. Now the way this works is you can either group up with friends, just like, quick play or competitive, or you can go in solo by yourself and we'll put you with a team. You'll be on a team with 2 other people facing off against another team of 3. You guys can pick whatever team composition you want each round, but once you pick that team composition, you're locked in for the round. So, in this example, they picked Winston, Zarya, and Mercy, and it is a elimination round. So what that means is if Mercy, in this case, runs out and dies right away, she's not available for her team. It will play out however it goes. So it's now a 3v2. It's really exciting though, because what we found in our internal playtest is that sometimes you can be that one person, your other 2 teammates die, you're facing off against 3 people, your teammates are now in spectator mode watching you, and there's a lot of drama and tension to it, and you have the ability to come back and overcome and win for your team. The only limit we put on this is a single hero limit for your team. If you want to pick the same composition every round, you're free to. And we're really curious to see how the team comps play out. Do you take a tank at all? Or how cool is Mercy in the fact that she can actually resurrect people in an elimination mode? That's extremely powerful. So we're really curious to see how the hero balance plays out in 3v3 elimination. Now, some of the modes coming to the arcade are old favorites. So Mystery Heroes, we've heard a lot of desire that Mystery Heroes should be around more, and I want to play Mystery Heroes. It's one of my favorite ways to play. For those of you not familiar with Mystery Heroes, it's simply a mode that takes place on our normal quick play maps and game modes, but you're not allowed to pick what hero you have. The game will pick for you. You might have the world's best team comp. You might have a terrible team comp. Who knows? It's Mystery Heroes, but it's a lot of fun. So we put an old favorite in there so people would have something to play. We added a new mode called No Limits. And everybody might be wondering what this is. So coming soon to Quick Play is the single hero limit. That will be coming as soon as Monday on the PTR, possibly Tuesday if certain people are hungover, but maybe Monday. And because of that, now we know that the hero limit is a very polarizing and controversial topic in the community. We feel like for the health and stability of the game, that the single hero limit is really important to Overwatch moving forward. The community understands the game at a much deeper level now. You guys know how to play at a very high level. You know sort of what stacked compositions really break things. So we feel like for quick play to stay good and healthy, we want to add the single hero limit to that. With that said, we totally respect that there's a large community that loves playing with stacked heroes. So we wanted to not remove the thing from quick play without providing a place where people could still go and stack heroes and have fun. So for you guys, we created No Limits. It will be available in the arcade. As you can see in our example here, you can have 6 Torbjorns or 6 Mays or 2 Torbjorns and 4 Genjis, you name it. You stack them how you want them stacked. And that's what No Limits is. Lastly, in the arcade, we have a mode called All Brawls. So we realized that our brawls weren't working out that great. Like, they were kind of interesting, a little unique, but they weren't everything we wanted the brawls to be. Some were better than others. And we also found, and talking to people and looking at player behavior, looking at the stats of how people were playing, they would go into the weekly brawl and maybe play it for a round or two and then not come back all week. And then, Tuesday would roll around and then they would check it out and then sort of be gone. And so we came up with this idea of creating what we called a playlist. So now in the arcade, we're not going to change brawls weekly or anything like that. This will always be available in the arcade. And it's a mode called All Brawls. And it has a lot of the older brawls that you guys used to like. The Farrah Mercy brawl, the We're All Soldiers Now, I think Overwatch is in there. But what's really fun is you play, and at the end of a round, it cycles to a new brawl. So it's a really fresh and new way to keep playing Overwatch, because every single round, it's sort of a new rule set. We found that it's a really fun way when you want to blow off steam, like if you've played a bunch of competitive and at end of the night just want to blow off steam, or maybe you want to warm up before going into competitive. This seems like a lot of fun. We've also added a few new brawls into the playlist for you to check out. One of them, have we named it? I keep calling it Charge. I don't know if Michael will name it, but it's basically just Lucio's and Reinhardt's. So you can imagine how that one goes. And then the last brawl of the new ones that we threw into this playlist, it's on Ilios only, and only on the well point of Ilios, and it's only Roadhogs and Lucios. So it should be fun.
And I think it's called This is Ilios.
This is Ilios, yeah. You can imagine how that one's going to end. So yeah, that's the arcade. We can't wait for you guys to check it out. Those of you on PC, it will be available on the PTR, like I said, early this week. We want to hear your feedback. We've also added, if you notice on there, it has popularity for each of those. Those are so, we've kind of split up the matchmaking pool a little bit now. So it might take a little bit longer to get into some modes. So we want you to have awareness of, if you're going into a low popularity mode, that you might have to wait a little bit longer. And it also is an indication for us, if we can look at the popularity over time and say, hey, maybe they're not really playing Mystery Heroes as much anymore. Maybe we'll cycle Mystery Heroes out for a while and cycle a new game mode in. We also imagine when we run holiday events, like this is where Junkenstein's Revenge is going to go, and this is where Lucio Ball is going to go. So some of those fun, different modes will end up here in the arcade. Lastly, we have a new map coming. This one is a control map, so it's like Nepal, Lijiang Tower, or Ilios, in that it's that King of the Hill game mode. We call it control. The rest of the world calls it King of the Hill, but we're sticking with it. And this map, I think, is a lot of fun for a lot of different reasons. Each of the points, like our other control maps, get built with different gameplay in mind. So we're trying an experiment on the, I keep calling it the first point of Oasis, but really it's the center city point of Oasis. We're trying out a jump pad, Overwatch's first jump pad. Those of you who are a fan of 90s shooters will know how awesome jump pads are in shooters. And what we didn't realize, like we knew a jump pad would be cool, and the jump pad sort of allows you to get up really high to a very good strategic location over the capture point. But what we didn't really think about until we started playtesting was how much fun you could have with some of the hero abilities and the jump pad. So suddenly, McCree's Deadeye or 76 Tactical Visor,
Bastion.
50 meters in the eye.
Bastion transforming.
Yeah, or Bastion, it's kind of crazy, and I know you guys will figure out even cooler stuff than we've been able to figure out so far. But also just the map is cool, and it's a chance for us to talk more about cool Overwatch places.
Yeah, and I'm surprised you didn't say anything about those robot waiters there. That's a big feature on this map. No, so Oasis is set in the Arabian Desert in the Middle East. We were thinking about what new locations we wanted to do, and we really wanted to have a map set there using a lot of the architectural cues and stuff like that. And I think that what you can see here is that it is a really advanced city. So the backstory of the Oasis map is that it was founded by scientists, and these scientists were looking for a way to really push the boundaries of what modern science at the time could do, but because of regulations or whatever, they weren't allowed to. So they founded the city as like a testament to the ingenuity of humans, and what better way to show that off than by turning the middle of a desert, this very unlivable place, into one of the most technologically advanced and wonderful cities in the world.
So I know the artist will kill me if I don't mention this too. All the art that you're seeing on Oasis is work in progress. The map is not finished yet. So I think the map is going to look even cooler. I mean, to me, it looks beautiful already, but I think it will look even cooler when our amazing art team is done with it. Now, the plan for Oasis is, hopefully, if everything goes right and there's no disasters, Oasis should be on the PTR sometime in December. That's our goal. And then our other goal is to release it in early 2017. So that's what we're shooting for. It might slip. If it does, we will communicate that to you so you know when it's coming. But the other stuff, the arcade, Sombra, the new game modes, that stuff you guys are going to have right away. It should be on the PTR this week. And then you guys know, like, if the PTR goes well, it'll be out really fast. If there's a lot of feedback and we need to make changes, it'll take a little bit longer, but it should be out really, really soon. That's sort of everything we have for our panel today. There are some amazing Overwatch panels happening here at BlizzCon. I highly recommend you check them out. There's a whole panel on the guys who have made the animated shorts, who go into a lot of detail. We'll show you a lot of behind the scenes stuff on how we make those animated shorts. There's an amazing play by sound panel happening tomorrow morning. Our sound guys are fantastic. They have some special surprises for you, special guests that you might recognize in that panel. And then we know how much you guys like Q&A, and usually we rush through Q&A at the end of the panel. What we're going to do this time is tomorrow's panel at the end of the day is entirely dedicated to Q&A, a whole hour of just Q&A. We will answer all of your questions. We'll have some of us who are up here right now and even more developers to talk about all things Overwatch. It's been an amazing year and an amazing launch. We can't thank you guys enough. We couldn't wish for a better player base than you guys have been. We will keep making the game awesome, and have a great BlizzCon. Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.